I just want to make a comment. In addition to the bacterial counts, now this is from Seattle, this was in the Seattle paper,
Yep.
and it's called Theft and Disease Problems. And so what's happening, and a lot of you probably read this, high incidence of theft. Especially in frozen foods and in vegetables. And they can't really monitor what people are putting in their bags. They're putting things in backpacks, they're putting things in the bags that they bring. So that was another thing the business people didn't think about. And I don't know whether they're, I don't know what they're going to do about it. This is just a shoplifters fill up their baskets. So, this is a big article, and I do have the reference to that. So,
and I've seen the research on this as well. I mean, my response is you always are going to have unintended results when you initiate something new. I think you have to expect that that's going to happen. Doing nothing really is not an option either. We have to be innovative.
But it's a choice.
In our
and
approach.
Precisely. The other thing that the council didn't do, and I could be totally wrong on this, they just made a decision without really putting it to a vote in Corvallis. And the owner, they did?
They did not.
Did not, okay. So what gives them the moral authority to make any decision for me? If I want to use a plastic bag, I want to use a plastic bag. If I want to use a paper bag, and those poor guys who wanted paper bags to begin with, exactly what you said, now they have to pay for them. They had them for free, and now they have to pay for them. And the store owners that didn't, they just rolled over and said, okay, we'll do this. Yeah, it's a good idea. Where were those people?
Yeah.
And I think there is, it's a moral authority for choice.
Appropriately
For
should
somebody
go
else,
to
yeah.
the council member who represents that decision. I've been there in the past, and I know.
I don't know if an order change is worthwhile, because there's some things I'd like to say that trying to figure how to, about the process and the like and the decision, and not trying to convince people as much as explain what we went through. And in the case of, I hear statements about no research. I mean, we spent from November till June of, November of 2011 till June of 2012, 8 months, both staff and having public testimony, both for and against. And we got tons of material, and you'll hear some about some of the material tonight. But there was a process that had lots of time for people to participate and to, so.
But if the research, I'm sorry, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you.
The research was there.
But the research isn't the point.
I'm going to suggest, because Counselor will have, he still will have his time at the docket here this evening.
Okay.
And you can question it afterwards. But there are a couple of other people just had a couple of questions.
It's just for her. Yes, I was curious if you knew if those 70 other cities were also members of ICLEI?
A good question. I don't know, but there is a great interactive website that you can go to click on. It's not as updated as I'd like it to be, but it gives you a pretty good idea as you, not just in the United States, but across the world, as you look at who's enacted, who has failed to enact. I don't think any have actually repealed a law once it's gone into effect.
Corvallis, or state of California, everyone's bailing out of ICLEI because it's bankrupting their cities.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here.
But anyway, it's, these are all good questions, and it's appropriate to have that kind of research under your belt. Yes, ma'am.
My thought was, if I can't reuse my plate at Izzy's, why is it okay to use bags that I see pulled out from underneath dogs and bicycle tires and dirty sports equipment? It seems like reusing a plate at Izzy's would be far better than.
As an engineer, this disturbs me greatly, because I think, if we could just apply ourselves to more positive design aspects. I mean, I have a mother and father who are, my dad will be 85 at the end of this week, and my mother will shortly follow. And the only way that they can remain independent and get around is to have those plastic bags that have the handles handles that they can maneuver. Paper bags just don't work for them, especially paper bags without handles. They just don't work for them.
It'll work for anybody.
You know, and so there's gotta be, I know that if we applied our options correctly and our design capabilities correctly, there's gotta be options that are on the positive side that get people to moving in a right direction and still do the cleanup that's required, you know, that really is a concern if you look at what's going into our oceans right now. That's very real, and you can't just push that aside either. So, yes ma'am.
I just have one. I went into Safeway and I had driven my husband's pickup, which didn't have a recycle or a bag in it. So I go in and I have all my stuff in this little basket. And I said to the checker, would you just mind putting it back in the basket? I'll take it to my car and I'll put it in. You know. He says, well, please don't steal the basket. He says, you have no idea how many baskets we're buying. I'm going, do I look like a thief? I mean, I wasn't going to steal a basket. I'd never heard that before.
I wish I had access to the books of Safeway and Fred Meyer, because, I mean, I frequent these places all the time when I'm here. I buy much less now. I can only, you know, what I can, because I'm always, you know, forgetting to bring a bag. But the thing that's most notable is, I think this is really having impact on our stores. I have
hope it
never
is.
seen
I
the
hope it's
shelves
negative.
so empty. I've seen products taken off that were offered, and we've all experienced this, right? You know, this is having a real impact financially on the business community downtown. So something has to be done to help counterbalance.
One more question.
Yeah, the one question I have is you have these, I call them the Corvallis bags. I don't live in Corvallis, but it impacts me because I like to shop here, and it's gotten to the point I just don't shop here
Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
And the bags that you get, a lot of them come from China, and I don't trust the Chinese what they make, and God knows that it could be filled with all kinds of bacteria. And I wonder if they did the research on that. I doubt that very seriously.
It's
Because
a great segue. I'm gonna sit down.